tragic incident, another older brother of Terrence would swing by the house. This would be Ronald Slim Williams, the eldest brother and the richest as well. Although Slim wasn't the best looking guy, he was the street and financial mastermind of the entire family. According to Terrence, Slim was not a bad guy at all, but he was definitely all about the Benjamins. Well, here's what he came to do.
Big bro, come around with a white guy in a car.
Okay.
I signed some papers. I would later in years find out that that was insurance man. So it's like if we messed up or if I fronted somebody dope, if they fronted somebody dope and they didn't pay the dope back or didn't pay, okay, when I get killed, they go get insurance money, you know.
At the time,
Boy, you made your little brother sign a life insurance policy at 11? I'm not even tripping over the fact that, like, nigga, I think everybody should have a life insurance policy. But it's more so the fact that you explained it like, yeah, if I lose my life dealing in these streets, they're gonna get paid. And you then factor in the math that there was 23 siblings. So therefore, if he would have said, yeah, I'm getting all of my siblings to sign this, and then they just so happen to fall into the drug life that baby is eliciting them into, I still get money on. Nani? What are we doing?
Terrence had no perspective on what was really going on. All he thought was that his brothers were showing him love. He was pretty much doing
Sit down, right there, don't go nowhere, little baby gon' shake that, 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 shit, yeah, I like that, bring that, right here, say sit down, right there, don't go nowhere, say yeah, I like that, bring that, right here, say sit down, right there, don't go nowhere.
Another reaction video. Today we're reacting to part 2 of Birdman's Evil Hitman, how he caught 40 bodies, escaped prison, and is now helping the youth. This is a Swamp Stories video. Let's get right back into it. It's 1989.
1989 and Terrence is 15 years old. At this point, he's completely in the streets.
Oh, that
as he's
cut is
robbing
trash.
plugs, stealing cars, and pretty much cutting school every single day. But more importantly, he's eager and willing to take hits for his older brothers. By this time, Birdman and Slim are multi-millionaires in the streets of New Orleans, and their goal is to control the entire market. As you would assume, in order to achieve this, it entailed eliminating a bunch of rivals. So as crazy as this sounds, Terrence would get a call with a description and was willing to eliminate whoever they told him.
I get a phone call, hey, go on LaSalle and Jackson, got Stonewall jeans on with a pair of felines, handle that for me. Got you.
Well, not only was Terrence willing to do hits, but
So basically, anybody on those streets with stonewashed jeans and a pair of felines is cooked. Now, granted, it might not be that many people with that fit on, but mistaken identity is a motherfucker. Especially when you just telling a nigga randomly through word of mouth off the phone, yeah, this and that. Like, that, what kind of description is this? Can I get a name? What he look like? You said clothing.
so was Mosquito, simply out of loyalty and just wanting to be bad.
Yeah, they all just came because I always would get the call, but he would become my best friend. So we hanging together already, and he had shot a guy already, so it's like, this the norm now. Like, okay, look, come on, let's go. Come on, going with you.
Well, the madness would begin on January 14th, 1989. It's a cold winter day and Terrence is inside watching TV at his mom's house. That's when he gets a call asking him to eliminate a man who's hanging out in front of a local corner store. Without any talks or negotiations about compensation, he instantly gets up and agrees to do it. So he puts on a hoodie, grabs his .38 and walks to the local store. When he gets there, he sees the man standing outside, but strangely, he doesn't do it right away. Instead, he decides to ask the man for $1.
Guy on the corner. The average person on the corner that's selling and their mind is my block, my hood, don't make it hot, keep it moving, right? I come around, hey man, you got $1? Man, get off around, you're around here begging, man, find you something.
The man who thinks Terrence is just some little kid who's begging decides to shoo him away. And even though Terrence was going to do the job anyway, in his mind this gave him an extra reason.
So now it's like I already come to.
He's crazy. He's crazy. So hold on. My question is, what would you have done if he was completely like nice, accommodating, and all of that? Would it have changed your perception? Would it have made you not do it? Because you already said you was gonna do it. You're already a badass. Your words. So you're not gonna back down. You're still gonna take his life. So I mean, at that point, what would kindness have done? I mean, him being an asshole definitely put fuel to the fire, but hey, you was gonna kill him anyway. Like, what are we doing?
Do away with you, right? But you on the block and you got your little stuff going, you grinding, you hustling, and you treat this little young boy like a little piece of trash. Bro, I'm in the neighborhood I come from, where you come from, I ask you for $1. Because now it went from me doing something for this person to now it's personal now. Because you trust me. I asked you for $1. I really want to go and get me something from the store, even though I'm going to down you.
Like, brother, you're going to take my life anyway. I mean, I guess you could go out on an act of kindness, but I'm shooting first.
You're going to get deleted, but you can't give me $1.
Deleted is insane.
I got you. Play it off, go to the store.
So Terrence plays it off and walks in the store like any old customer.
And if I would have seen him around the block again, I'm running.
It might would have been like maybe 1 or 2 headshots. So now would you get on from around?
So he answered my question. You telling me being kind and giving you the little $1 is gonna give me 2 headshots instead of 17? Okay. I mean, at that point, I'm still rest in peace. It's already overkill regardless. It didn't make a difference. What?
Around here with all that big and the boy get from around you. I'm around here grinding. All right, I walk off, go to the store. He back out there. Now he got 2, 3 females out here. He talking and drug, got the little money in his hand.
Oh yeah. Pop, pop.
Yeah, I just had the gun in my pocket come out and a little short little black 38. That's my favorite little gun.
38. Oh god. Yeah, he's gone.
Needless to say, Terrence completed the job. At this point, he's so far into this life that it feels like nothing. It's like a regular routine. He gets a call, gets the job done, and thinks nothing of it. Sadly, this would continue in a major way over the next 3 months. Between February 3rd and May 10th, he and Mosquito would catch 4 separate bodies in Uptown. They didn't know of any of the people they eliminated. All they did it for was to impress Terrence's big bro. And because of this, they pretty much got nothing in return for everything they had done.
Back then it was never, when I get out this way, now these days, these youngsters, they hip, they know like, man, I want to be paid for what I get out of this. Back then, it was, man, I got you, I'm just riding with my homeboy. Man, I don't care what is behind, what happened, and then I ask them what happened. All they know is I'm going to somebody.
In a way, it's kind of, I'm not going to say admirable. I was about to. It's like, damn, Mosquito really your man. It's like, he would whatever. That's kind of tough. Like, I can respect the loyalty. It's just like, y'all are doing criminal activities. Y'all couldn't use y'all brains to do something else. It's not even about being a criminal. Y'all taking niggas' lives. Like it's fun. Just cause the nigga's calling. The nigga not even getting no bread. Not that human life is worth bread, but like, bro, at least get something in return. Nah, bro, I'm living off the high of smoking and like, what?
Back then, I never received a payment like cash. I always would get clothes, shopping sprees. Not really shopping sprees, little few outfits, and all right, go good looking out.
Brother, that's not a shopping spree.
More for me was to please who I was doing it for. Because, coming up, it's like when you young and you loyal to certain people and you already took a life before, so it's like, okay, they ain't nothing. Come on, that's what you need to do. I got you, because I'm already out in the streets, I'm already committing crimes, doing stuff. It's not till you get older you realize, man, you been played. Or man, you wouldn't done it, that was stupid. You took somebody's life for this.
What you got to show for it?
Sometimes you don't know what you're doing it for. You just moving out because you trying to do it to impress who you're doing it for.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in his life, Terrence understands that he was only doing it to impress his peers and his elders.
Damn.
And given that New Orleans is still the murder capital, he does have a message for the youth.
This day and time, we got these youngsters out here that need to hear from us, that we need to talk to help them. Let them know materialistic stuff ain't nothing. Conquer the peer pressure, So that's why I always sit back and I talk about certain stuff to let these youngsters know I've been there already. I know what you're going through, because I was that person who you are today.
Well, at this point, Terrence was a certified goon, and everybody knew it. His name was ringing bells throughout the city, and that's how he got the nickname of Gangsta Williams. Despite being just 15 years old, Gangsta had already managed to claim 6 lives, 4 of which done with mosquito. It all started in January of '89 and continued for a few months into 1990. To this point, neither of them had ever been arrested for anything, as crazy as that sounds. It's cause at this time in New Orleans, you could literally get away with anything so long that there wasn't a witness. And being a witness in Louisiana is probably the most dangerous thing anyone could do. Even to this day, you will most likely not make it to the date of the testimony. Well, Gangsta and Mosquito knew this, and being told on or ever going to jail was something that they could never even fathom. The only way they could ever go to jail is if they did something completely reckless. So here's what happens. At first they were just a 2-man crew, Mosquito and Terrence stepping and selling everything. But then another guy would come around the neighborhood, a guy who was into a completely different life in the streets. This would be a guy named George Cookie Cooks of the Magnolia Projects.
Okay, it took me a while to really become friends with George Cooks, because when we first come around the neighborhood, he was like a standoffish. He was like maybe a year or 2 older than me. So I was like, yo, they call you Cookie? He looked at me like yeah, like all his answers were short. And I was like, who do you think he is? Because I was trying to be his friend.
As he stated, George was a bit older and he was also a professional car thief. And being that Gangsta loved to impress his peers, when George came around, he wanted to show him that he could steal cars too, even though he had never driven before.
So one day I come around and he was a professional car thief. He bring me like a block off St. Charles around 3rd Street somewhere, and he was like, man, I got this car. So it's a Burgundy 98. Now mind you, I had never drove a car in my life. So he tell me, say, man, later on we're gonna go ride.
Finally, Gangsta gets to do something with George Cooks, and he's excited and he agrees to do it. He then tells him that he has to go home to bathe and that he'll meet up with him later. But really, Gangsta has other immediate plans.
Alright, I'm about to go home now, take me a bath, and then we'll come back. Alright. So I walked up 2nd Street like I was going to take a bath, and I turned left. Then I come back up 3rd.
He really wants to impress George and show him that he can steal cars too.
And I go steal a car. So like I said, it's my first time driving. So I turn the corner a little fast. Or when I hit Jackson Avenue, I'm coming up the wrong lane.
Gangsta has no idea what he's doing, but he really wants George Cooks to see that he had stolen a car.
He gonna crash that motherfucker.
So he tries his best to drive up the block that George is posted on.
I got nervous because I go on this 2-way street, but the car's here, so it's kind of small. So a car coming my way. So I had to put in reverse. I backed up in these people's house.
His plan goes horribly as he backs up into someone's house and has to run away.
Jumped out the boy, tried to catch a run. George see me later on that night.
So even though his initial plan had failed, he ended up going to steal a car with George later that night. And as crazy as it seems, this is how George and Gangsta became close friends.
And from there we just got cool. We just started hanging out.
Bro, you literally swung a V into somebody's living room. What the fuck? Bro, I'm not kicking it with you tonight.
Hanging out.
So now, instead of it being a 2-man clique, George, Gangsta, and Mosquito were a 3-man army. So they were already selling products and doing hits, but now stealing cars was added to the equation. On a regular basis, they would steal people's cars and simply joyride them around New Orleans for fun. Eventually, it was only a matter of time before they steal the wrong person's car. And that takes us to March 24th, 1990.
March 24th, 1990, we was hanging in the Magnolia Project right on Washington Avenue. So we leave. We go around 2nd and Danielle. There's some new guys on our set.
Gangsta and George are not thrilled that there's guys posted on their infamous corner of 2nd and Danielle. So that's when Gangsta decides that that's cause for them to rob them.
So me and George go back around on 3rd Street, come through the fence, hop the fence, come up the alley, and we rob them.
After they rob them, George isn't satisfied as he also wants to take their car. So after going through these people's pockets, Gangsta and George also hop in their car and drive off.
This guy got a Mitsubishi Galant lowrider with a lot of boom in it. So we go joyride. We go to the Calio first. Then we make our round to the Melf because we was on our way across the river.
So Gangsta and George are just joyriding around the city with nothing on their minds. Little do they know the guys who they robbed were just civilians, and they decided to call 911.
Thank you.
So while the duo is out joyriding for fun, NOPD is looking for the Mitsubishi Galant.
Police put the siren on and pull us over. I'm thinking we better jump out of the run. Y'all step on. So we flying up Simon Boulevard, which turns to LaSalle Street. Flying up there, when we get to Jackson and LaSalle, police pull right to the block us off.
You got fire on you.
What? We got to the Magnolia Project. Jump out the truck, run in the project, and I thought I had got away, so I hid in the hallway. Man, that police came around and found me in there, handcuffed me, brought me out. Then he caught George in another courtyard.
And just like that, Gangsta is arrested for the first time ever. The district attorney does not take the crime lightly as they sentence him to juvenile life.
Well, he's already 15. That's only 3 years. Ain't that bad. My only problem is you got multiple bodies under your belt at this point. Why are you stealing vehicles? That's stupid.
Yeah, we went to juvenile jail. We wound up getting juvenile life. Back then, juvenile life was until you're 21 years old.
21, damn, 6 years. Oh, God.
Lost Georgia Medicaid?
Where can we find a low-cost health plan?
What about a plan that covers doctor visits?
Care Doc, yeah.
Emergency care?
Gangsta now had to spend ages 15 to 21 in one of America's worst juvenile facilities. From here, Gangsta is transported from New Orleans up I-10 to the disgusting Baker, Louisiana, a hot, stinky, sticky, and dangerous jail called LTI Baker. Here, Gangsta was introduced to a new environment, nothing like anything on the streets. In his life, he had gone straight to gunplay, and he had never really fought before. But in LTI Baker, everything was about fighting, and he had to get down. He recalls riots and major fights between the 3rd Ward, which he claimed, and pretty much everyone else. Overall, it was just a terrible experience, and he and his friends did not want to be there. So that's when a fellow 3rd Wardian came up with an idea. Let's break out of jail. So for weeks, a friend named Bryce devised a master plan for him and his 3rd Ward homies to break out of LTI.
He was up there too in juvenile, so Bryce came up with this bright idea, let's break out of jail. I was like, all right, cool. First, we came up with a plan. It was a lady and a man working there. So what I heard about, you take the little eye drops, you put it in there, knock them out. So we were gonna put that in the lady drink. But then I was scared. I was like, no, that lady might die. So then we come up with this idea. Okay, look, get the mop wringer, cause that plastic, that hard plastic, right? So Toto was gonna hit the bat over the head, and we're gonna take the keys and try to bail out.
Even though this is a horrible plan, they decide to go for it on a particular night. This is without any idea of how they'll get back to New Orleans, cause it's not like you can walk there. Well, this initial plan did not work out, as Gangsta saw police lights as soon as they tried to do it. So they all backed out at the last minute and figured they needed a better strategy. So this is when Bryce comes up with the perfect plan.
Bryce get the bright idea to get one of his people to come up there and get us. So he said, man, you wanna break out? All right, cool. I heard the seal say, Darren Moore, say, what's up? He said, your uncle called up here, you gonna have a visit tomorrow. He said, man, they up here. I was like, all right. So they had all of us come outside and get in a long line. This particular day, they had all the dorm tourists, whoever had to get medication that night, come out, and they made us get in a long 2 lines and walked us all the way up front.
So now the trio was in the medicine line waiting for Bryce's people to show up. As soon as they see the car, they're ready to break off and run towards the exit.
So we sit down, right, and how it's made, it's like a little horseshoe, like a real hospital. A car come out, they got the headlights on. He was like, there they go. I said, no, that ain't them, that's not them, sit down. So I'm nervous, right? I'm like, man. So they come back, say, man, that's them. So y'all ready? Let's go. We jump up and take our running towards the front gate.
Now they're all sprinting towards the gate, which is guarded by an overweight officer.
And now I gotta face the man again and try to juke. I went around this little fast cell, hit my head jumping in the car. We head out.
The first step is a success as they juked out the guard, hopped in the car, and took off. Now they're headed through Baton Rouge in a junkyard car that's filled to capacity. As they're driving through North Baton Rouge, they figure that they successfully evaded police.
How?
But then they start hearing sirens in the distance that keep getting louder and louder. The police finally start to catch up, and that's when they decide to pull a left on 72nd. They then approach a small bridge, which the driver believes that they won't be able to clear.
So now we going on this bridge in Baton Rouge. Now they behind us now. The man, two of y'all gotta get out the car. Toto, the youngest one in the car with us. Toto like, all right, I'ma go. I jump out the car with him.
So now Gangsta and Toto are on foot and running down the bridge. Once the police catch up, they instantly stop chasing the car and begin to chase the two on foot.
So as we running down the bridge, I asked Toto, I said, Toto, you want me to jump off now? He said, yeah. So I jump off like, bro, don't get like about the bridge, baby, like highest up here.
So they jump off the bridge, run into a neighborhood, and begin hopping fences. They then take off their LTI shirts and throw them in someone's backyard. Gangsta is smart enough to know that they won't be able to get away on foot, so he comes up with a second plan. As they're sprinting through backyards, he notices a treehouse with a ladder. Wow. So he yells at Toto to stop and to climb up with him. So they quickly climb up into the treehouse while police are searching.
We laying down. I hear the deputy guard, whatever, out there. They around here somewhere, here go their shirts. Man, mosquitoes tearing us up. We up there, man, I had to use the bathroom bad. And in the LTI, they run out of toilet paper out, so we always kept toilet paper in our pocket. So I did a number 2 right quick. He gonna tell me, man, let you stink. We up here in the hole, of course, mistake. We right here by each other.
It's steaming hot, it smells terrible, and they're being eaten up by mosquitoes. So Toto's making an understandable fuss, but Gangsta tells him to stay put.
Man, them people somewhere out there, stop talking, man. We need to be quiet till nighttime get here, but we can get out of here.
I would have took that story to the grave. Nigga, yo. Oh, you just defecated next to your man's in the goddamn treehouse. And y'all had to stay with that for a whole, probably 6 hours? Ugh.
For hours and hours, they wait patiently in the disgusting treehouse. Then night comes around and Gangsta figures that it's safe to hop down. As they're walking through the neighborhood, Gangsta has a revelation. We won't be able to walk back to New Orleans. So that's when he approaches a random man in the North Baton Rouge neighborhood. But instead of asking him for a ride, he asks him for a screwdriver so he can steal a car.
I said, man, can you help us out? I said, man, we need a screwdriver so we can steal a car.
That's a wild question to ask a random person, but here's how the man responds.
He said, look, man, y'all can't steal nothing around here, but go down there on that corner and wait in the abandoned house. I got somebody gonna come back and gonna bring y'all to go steal a car.
And just like that, they have an escape plan. A random man in North Baton Rouge is gonna help them steal a car so they can get home.
It's like, all right, cool. So we run down the street, go across the high in the abandoned house. We chilling. I see a police come by. I got nervous a little bit. They kept going. So the brown Cadillac pull up. You go jump in the back. He said, yeah, man, I was in LTI back in the day. He bring us to this club to steal a car. They storm on the glass. The glass was shattered. We pop 2 times that way, pop 1 time that way. Let's go, start up. $5 for gas. Give him $5. So he tell us, go right here and go straight there. So we on it now.
Now Toto and Gangsta are headed down I-10 towards New Orleans. They have an hour and a half to go without getting pulled over. Can they do it? As they approach the city of Gonzales, Gangsta notices flashing lights in the distance.
We drive. I see some lights up here. I said, man, they got a roadblock. I'm not thinking they ain't gonna have no roadblock for the juveniles back there. We just ran.
Thankfully, it's just a car getting pulled over, but still, Gangsta drives extremely carefully.
I said, let me see. I kept going. They had to pull a car over. So as I'm trying to speed past them on behind the 18-wheelers, another car over. I said, let me slow down. So it's kind of drizzling a little bit. Both hands on the steering wheel, one on the brakes, one on the gas. We kept going all the way till we got to New Orleans.
What? That nigga just said both hands on the steering wheel. I'm assuming 1 foot is on the brake and 1 foot is on the gas. Brother, you don't know how to drive. You do not use 2 feet to drive. It's not a F1 car. What are you doing?
We drove all the way till we got off on the exit on by St. Charles.
Mission Impossible is finally complete as Gangsta and Toto successfully make it back to New Orleans. Now you'd think that they'd be paranoid and would only want to hide inside, but that was not the case at all. Instead, they'd walk around the neighborhood to find their friends, and while doing this, Gangsta saw something he liked.
And I saw this chick with this lady with this fat butt with a skirt on. But Toto was in front of me walking. I'm behind him. So when she got to me, I was like, what's up, boo? So she stopped, talked to me, and Toto laughing. What you laughing about? This was a rainbow person. With the breast, everything. I said, oh, man. And we kept going to go to the project.
What a way to top off such an eventful day. Well, now it's time to go home and get some much needed rest, except that Terrence knows that he cannot go back to his mom's house. So instead, he knocks on his aunt's door and sees if he can stay there. Obviously, she welcomes him in, and this is when he gets a call from his mom.
We go by outside the Birdman house, and Denise, my people, she brings us back in the project. So me, Toto, 4 of us in the house. So my mother was looking for me. Mother get on the phone. You all right? Yes, ma'am. You need anything? I said, yes, ma'am. So I wrote her a list, tell her like 2-page, bro, because I didn't want to use the people's stuff out of the house I was staying in.
Gangsta was advised to stay in the house as much as possible to avoid getting noticed by police and sent back to juvenile. But Gangsta could not sit still, so he decides to leave the house and go back to his old hood.
So that night, I left out. I went back around my old set, Second and Daniel. It had changed within a year because we had got locked up in March. I broke out September of 91, so like a year and 6 months. Things had changed, so everybody, there's a few people out there, they looking at me, I'm looking like, yeah, I'm from this, my set, what's up with y'all, you know?
Terrence is not happy that his old hood had been taken over, but he also understands that it was going to happen anyways. So he decides against starting a beef with them and instead decides to start hanging out in the Magnolia projects. And despite the fact that he's on the run for juvenile escape, he decides to go right back to his wild life in the streets. Sadly, Toto opts to do the same thing, but for him, he's arrested in the Callio projects a few days later. Toto is absolutely pissed, especially because he's facing new charges for a gun. In fact, he's so pissed that he asks Terrence to break him out of jail before he can be sentenced. Obviously, this is a terrible idea, but in typical Terrence Williams fashion, he decides to do it.
Bomba clock. It's no way he can break him out of jail.
We about to do some crazy stuff, man. We about to try to break him out to youth study. When they open the door, we're gonna run in there, get him out of there.
The initial idea is to break in the juvenile center and rush Toto out. Gangsta and his friends are ready to do it, but coincidentally, the day of the plan, Toto has a court date. As you know, courtrooms are surrounded by tons of police, so they're obviously not gonna still try to break him out, right? Well, unbelievably, they come up with a second plan.
So it happened, he had moved from there to the courthouse. The plan now is to go around there, and when he come out the courthouse, put a gun on the guard, get him from there.
So they head over to the courthouse ready to break him out. They get there, and right then, Gangsta has a moment of clarity.
I said, man, don't y'all think if we go around and try to free him up, people might see us and try to get to us or whatever the case may be. He said, yeah, you're right. So I was like, good.
Thankfully, the plan failed and Toto was sent back to LTI. So with Toto being arrested and sent back, you'd think that Gangsta would want to lay low and learn from his friend's mistakes.
No.
But this was not the case at all, even with Mosquito, George, and Toto being locked up. He had nobody left to run with in the streets, so to fill up his days, he actually enrolled back in school. He enrolled with a fake name and risked his freedom just so he could hang in the hallways and talk to girls.
He's still a teenager. He's 17. Nigga, what? You're gonna get caught.
Gangsta recalls this as the most fun and relaxing time of his life, as all he was focused on was having fun. While this kind of lifestyle would last for a few months as he awaited his friends returning from jail. Eventually, George and Mosquito would be released from jail, and Gangsta went right back to his old life in the streets.
George come home, so all three of us running together now, robbing people, doing well. We got, get money. We had a big, long thumbcocker 4.4. We had a thumbcocker 357. 9mm and Mac 11s and stuff.
The trio was absolutely tearing up the streets of New Orleans. They would hang out in the projects and spend their days committing sporadic crimes. But then on a random day, they notice something that pisses them off. The guy who had told on them for stealing his car has that same car parked right in the projects. Even though the guy had literally done nothing wrong, George and Gangsta still wanted to get revenge.
One morning, me and George, we bored. The same guy we robbed that caused us to go to juvenile jail, his truck is parked. What are the chances?
But You have to go back because what he just said is the dumbest I've ever heard in my life.
So I'm like,
Bill wanted to get revenge.
one morning, me and Joe, we the same guy we robbed that caused us to go to juvenile.
The same guy we robbed that caused us to go to juvenile jail. Nigga, y'all robbed him. Y'all caused yourselves to go to juvenile jail. Don't blame that nigga.
Juvenile jail, his truck is parked. One of the chassis. So I'm like, wait till he come out, we gonna kill him.
So George and Gangsta patiently wait outside for the man to come back to his car. Then hours and hours go by and the man never comes to his car.
He told us he got us in trouble, man, with juveniles. George like, man, he might be in there too long. So George had a 36 round clip and shot the truck up.
At this point, they have no regard for people's property and most importantly, human life. Every day brings new destruction as they're tearing up the New Orleans streets. But as they say, what goes around comes around too. Gangsta and his crew felt untouchable because to this point, they seriously had never been touched. However, when you're living reckless and wild, you'll run into people who are just as reckless as you. Their first consequences in the streets would come on a random day in the Magnolia Projects.
I was on Magnolia Street, Magnolia and 6. It's this car pull up. They want to buy
Well, instead of selling to the man, Terrence's crew decide to rob him. While all of this is happening, Terrence happens to be in the corner watching. So while his friends are going through the guy's stuff, Terrence notices that the guy is armed and dangerous.
He got a chrome gun in his hand. I see the gun. It's dark in the courtyard where
he's
at.
How they robbing him then? What?
So he starts shooting. And when he shot, I get hit in the foot.
Thankfully, the guy misses both of Terrence's friends, but he hits Terrence in the foot. So now, even though he's wanted by police, Terrence knows that he needs to go to the hospital. So his friends rush him to the emergency room, and thankfully he's able to be fixed up. Now, because he's wanted for juvenile escape, in a normal society, he would be taken straight to jail. But this is New Orleans, and nobody knows what's going on. So without running his name or checking his record, he's sent right out of the hospital.
Yeah, I got up out of there. I made up out of there. Can I do something? Give me a second. Can I say something? Hello? Cause she here. My people here.
At this point, Terrence is really invincible as he seems to duck and dodge his way out of every consequence. Whether it's getting away with a bunch of crimes, escaping juvenile jail, or hospitals not even running his name. Gangsta simply can never be taken down, or at least that's what it was seeming like. But then he finally makes a mistake that puts a temporary end to all of his madness. Him and his boys decide to hit a house lick for the very first time. Even though they're already making money in the streets, they decide to do it just for the sake of doing it. So for their first step, they rent a car from a guy they know. For $10, he lets them use the car, but they have to.
Sir, y'all are already stealing vehicles. Why would you not just take the stolen to the... Nah, I guess it makes it more hot. Also, I'm surprised y'all just started now breaking into houses. Like, that should have been like step one. They had no type of progression ladder when it came to the things that they were doing. One nigga was like, yeah, bro, I steal V's. The other nigga was like, bro, I sell drugs. The other nigga was like, bro, I shoot people. Real people. Like, what? What is going on?
To return it in a few hours. Well, now that they have a getaway car, they decide to do it.
No, we had a guy that was selling in the project. We decided to rob the house.
To get in the house, George wants to push in the air conditioning and have Terrence climb inside.
No, at first he was like, man, we could get this window, man, I'm going in there. So what happened is they got an air condition. Push the air condition in. He said, man, get it. I said, no, man, somebody might be in there. He said, man, I'm gonna start shooting something. Yeah, but you might hit me.
So that's when Terrence thinks of a better solution. Let's find someone else to hop in first.
So I go run around and get this crackhead.
I was about to say,
come back.
Crackhead to do it. What?
Put her in the window.
So she hops in, runs around, and says that nobody's inside. So now it's officially go time.
So she get back out the window, so that lets us know nobody's there. I get in there, he get in there. I go straight to the closet. They got a pump gun. We took that. Then I went in the drawer. That's where all the money, stacks of money. So I'm stuffing the money in my pockets, hiding money in my socks and all that. We get all the money out the drawer.
Boom, they hit the house. Now it's time to drive away and return the car. But instead, Terrence opts to go straight to the mall to blow all of the money. So he goes in a jewelry store and buys a grill, and George stands outside and talks to some girls. They think that it's a great day, but little do they know they had gone over the time with the car, and the owner decided to report it stolen.
I'm thinking the car good because we paid $10 for the car. The man had to report the cost because we were gone over the time.
Because of this, New Orleans police start searching the city for the car.
God damn it.
So right after wasting their money, George and Terrence hop in the car and head down Canal Street. That's when police get behind them, corner them in, and then arrest them. Obviously, they know nothing about the home invasion, but they get them for the stolen car. So now Terrence faces charges of stealing a car and escaping juvenile.
He's cooked.
Or is that right? Well, you must not know Terrence because he already had a plan to shake it.
Lock me and him up. We go to the juvenile jail. While we in juvenile bureau wait. So that man said, "What's your name?" I said, "Richard Broomfield."
He gives the officer a fake name, but the officer knows it's fake because he has a TW tattoo on his arm.
He said, "Boy, what that TW stand for?" That's my father. He passed away, sir.
The officer does not buy it for a second, so he calls in the co-defendant and asks him to give up his name.
He say he go get Hank. He go get my best friend, but he don't bring him out by me. He go in there, hear him talk. "What's his name?" I'm like, "Man, Hank better not rattle." Hank loud. Richard Broomfield. That's all I know about it.
His co-defendant stays solid, but the officer still does not buy the fake name. So he decides to ask Terrence what school he goes to so he can look up the enrollment.
So the man said, "What school you go?" I said, "Booker T. Washington." So he got this big, thick book, and then he opened it. Look, he don't see that name, but I know that.
Oh, the age before computers when you can get away with anything. Because I'm like, bro, this is not flying now.
This is a real name because this guy lived down the block was my big brother friend. Richard Broomfield is a real name, and he don't get in no trouble. So, Richard Broomfield, sir, I'm gonna beat your butt. If you lying, we're gonna do a fingerprint.
So now Terrence is headed to court under the fake name of Richard Broomfield.
You don't know that?
So the court date comes around, and here's what happens. Somehow the courts don't double check his identity and they accept him as Richard Broomfield. Because of this, the judge sees that he's a good student and doesn't have a criminal record. So even though it's a serious charge, the judge decides to be lenient and offers him probation for a few more years.
How you get another nigga probation, bro? You're fucking evil.
And just like that, Terrence is able to duck consequences yet another time. George and his mother have no idea that this occurred, and while he was released, they were at home debating whether he was going to go to jail or sent back home. And that's when Terrence pops up out of nowhere.
George and my mother, he going back to juvenile jail. They got his butt now. My man ain't know that boy smoke. He gonna get up out of there. Soon they're in there having the debate, I knock on the door. Back.
So now he's on supervised release under his fake name, and he's wanted for juvenile escape for his real name. He's maybe the most wanted man in New Orleans, and the courts just simply have no idea. Terrence takes the justice system as a complete joke, and he decides to go out to the club the same night he's released.
Ain't no way.
So a couple of his friends come to pick him up from the Magnolia Projects, and they head down Willow Street. After making a right turn out of the projects, the police get behind them and turn on their lights. The driver forgot to use his turn signal, and now the police smell you-know-what in the car. So they direct them to step out of the car, and they pat them all down.
I don't even think to run or nothing, man. That man pat me down and found the gun.
So now Terrence is handcuffed sitting on the curb facing a misdemeanor.
Which is crazy because, I mean, it was multiple times where there was a gun on you and they arrested you, and this is the first time they ever mentioned the gun. It's crazy. Just saying. Kind of crazy.
Your gun charge.
George come out and say, like, give him a fake name, yo. I'm like, bro, I can't go back to juvenile.
Terrence knows that going to juvenile court is a horrible idea because he'd have to face the judge who just let him out under the Richard Broomfield name. So going to juvenile court is not an option, so he comes up with plan B. He recently turned 18, and because of this, he figures that giving them his real name and date of birth might be the best idea.
Can't go back now, so I give him my real name, but 74 date of birth.
So now it's March of 1992, and Terrence makes his court appearance for first-time gun possession, a misdemeanor charge in Louisiana. This in itself really isn't that serious, as the max sentence is only 6 months in jail, but typically people only get probation. However, the district attorney makes a major mistake and circles felony on his charge.
I go to court for the gun. They made a mistake and circle felony on the gun. But really, the gun was my first time as an adult, so it was really a state misdemeanor.
Because of this crucial mistake, the judge dismisses his charges completely.
What?
So once again,
Hey, and then it would have been at that moment I would have known, oh, I'm blessed. God loves me. At that point, bro, I'm leaving the streets and changing my life around. What? What? Bro, you just got off because of clerical error. What in the Monopoly board? Chance card? What the
he somehow wiggles his way out of consequences. However, because he used his real name, he still had to serve the remainder of his juvenile sentence. While Terrence agrees that this is fair, but he does have one request. Send me to the LTI in Monroe and don't send me to Baker. The judge thinks nothing of it and schedules him a bus ride up to Monroe. And here is where things somehow fall into Terrence's favor once again.
This shit is impossible. This is impossible. Oh my God, bro, this is a movie. This thing is a movie. Okay, so that's part 2 of The Life and Times of Gangsta Williams. I ain't gonna lie, bro, he's the one. Again, we don't condone none of the bullshit, but he's the one, bro. What is this? This nigga's destined. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and share your comments on the video in the comment section below. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe, y'all. Bro, this nigga is literally the one, bro. He's Neo. The fuck?
I'm a cowboy, can't stop me, ain't to live is to come. How this pain got me feeling accomplished. See, these games turn me into a monster. Hey, I'm a cowboy, can't stop me, to live is to come. How this pain got me feeling accomplished. See, these games turn me into a monster. I'm a cowboy, can't stop. Hey, all that pain got me feeling jaded. Many to roll in the making. Still plugged into the mix, but lagging out before the update. Drop back in different times, same location.